That eye injury was not pretty. It looked like a textbook cracked eye socket. But from what I've just read, Joet Gonzalez didn't go to the hospital. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Which is good news, considering how bad it looked and how many punches he was taking. Not all of them clean, he was keeping his chin down well, but he wasn't moving his head a lot. And Navarrete was just swinging for keeps at times, sinking in heavy shots to the body and then piercing the guard with big swooping shots, particularly the left uppercut, which he loves to spam. It was a closer fight than I anticipated. I thought Vaquero was going to get him out of there. But with a strong last round, and just with the sheer volume of punches, you can't take the victory away from him. It's just always the case that when you have a competitive fight, particularly between two Mexicans, you're always going to get people fighting the loser's corner, saying, hang on, he deserved the shout here. I think he deserved to win. But really, you're just trying to praise the effort. The overall quality wasn't there. The consistency wasn't there. The rounds that Gonzalez was entitled to, he kind of just edged, capitalizing on Navarrete's defensive lapses. You never got the sense he was in control of the fight. He wasn't punching hard enough. He wasn't throwing consistently. And even though Navarrete showed some kind of immaturity, you could even say, up close when he was leaning to one side, pleading to the referee and it wasn't being acknowledged, he was never really getting hurt. He looked so comfortable even when he's in awkward positions, like, yeah, you throw your lighter shots. Let me just get this at long range again, and I'll start thumping you backwards. But that is not to say that there weren't lessons to be learnt in that fight. Navarrete could do himself a favour and jab a little bit more. He literally does lead left uppercuts more than he jabs. Just try and keep the smaller guy on the outside. And then when he comes closer, use a clinch a bit more. It's more effective than doing that weird leaning to the side where you get clipped with the odd shot and the judges are thinking, I might give that round actually to Gonzalez now. Just lock him down. You don't have to become Vladimir Klitschko. Just grab him, reset, back to your preferred long range. So yeah, there are definitely some things to learn there for him if he wants to make things a little bit easier. There was a moment in the fourth where he was briefly stung. His knees dipped off a very good right hand. It was partly because he was going into the shot. So it's not that surprising he was hurt. It's not any evidence of being chinny. More important was how he responded, firing back after just a few seconds. I would also like to emphasize that performance did not change my opinion of how a fight could go between Navarrete and Shakur Stevenson. I still see it as a very hard to call competitive fight between two guys with very different styles. Now Shakur is all speed. He's all reflexes. He is slicked up, lubed up, tremendous textbook fighter. Navarrete is sometimes clumsy, but he does things that you may not have seen or encountered in a gym before. He does things that are hard to train and defend against. And one of his weird habits is this rushing in with the right, and then when there's not much space left between the fighters, he'll ram in a left uppercut. That's just the kind of, to use a Manny Stewart phrase, RIP, crazy shit that could floor Stevenson out of nowhere. So I would have to think very carefully about that matchup before I gave my prediction. It was the kind of performance that I can see really galvanizing Navarrete's detractors. Now more than ever, they'll be like, look, weight bully, as soon as he fights somebody around the same size, he is going down. I just think it was a tough night at the office. It happens. Look at Japanese fighter Kazuto Ioka and his last fight against fellow Mexican Francisco Rodriguez Jr. That was arguably a draw. Maybe he even deserved to lose. But that single fight is not fully representative of all his abilities and class as a fighter. The same principle applies to Navarrete against Gonzalez. It seems a lot more likely, though, that certainly in the immediate future, Bob Arum is going to try and get Navarrete to fight Oscar Valdez at 130 pounds. The move up in weight is going to be inevitable. If not next fight, definitely the one after. Preferably it will be the next fight. And as I've said in a previous video, it's the kind of victory that would help get Navarrete over with more of the casual audience. Whether they like his style or not, that's another question. It would very probably be an excellent fight, though. And the problem for Valdez would be, he wouldn't be fighting a weight-drained Miguel Berchelt. No, he would be fighting an awkward, rangy, tough-as-boots guy who's not going to stop throwing punches for the full 12. So unless he can put him out, he might be getting taken out himself. So what do we all make of Navarrete's current situation? I've heard the opinion a few times recently that featherweight is a wasteland. And I kind of agree. Look at Josh Warrington and Mauricio Lara. They're not going to probably have a third fight. No resolution there, very frustrating. Kid Galahad, though he is IBF champ, just who wants to watch him? Who wants to fight him? My mind is blank. It's at 130 where the bigger names are, where more money is. If he fights Shakur Stevenson in the next year, how do you see it going? Does the awkwardness win out, or does he get a boxing lesson? And how does the fight go if it is indeed next against Oscar Valdez? Which Mexican would prevail?